What is up, guys? My name is Oleg. This is 007. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to talk about Seiko. More specifically about the new announcement of Seiko 5 models coming in September 2019. So let's get started. Seiko 5 line of watches is very popular in watch collecting community. In fact, a lot of watch collectors have started their watch collections with Seiko 5 watches. Originally, they were introduced in 1960s, and each one of the Seiko 5 watches had to have all 5 of these attributes. So number 1, automatic movement. Number 2, crown at the 4 o'clock position. Number 3, at least 100 meters of water resistance. Number 4, day-date functionality at the 3 o'clock position. And number 5, a durable case and or a bracelet. One of the main reasons for the success of Seiko 5 series of watches is its introductory level price. They start at under $100. Actually, I picked one up for around $60. I did a full review of that watch. You can find it on the channel. It was one of my favorite watches that I owned, and I only paid $60 for it. Among many other reasons, one of the big reasons why these watches are so affordable is because they use a basic 7S26 automatic movement, no hacking and no hand winding. And this movement is very controversial in the watch collecting community because it's kind of an outdated movement, and a lot of watch collectors were complaining about this specific automatic movement. Well, that's all about to change somewhat because Seiko just announced 5 new categories of Seiko 5 watches, 27 new models in total. So the 5 new categories are sports, suits, specialist, street, and sense. The 5 S's. My initial reaction after looking at the announced lineup, I thought first I had to double check the source. I had to make sure that this is an official Seiko website, because to me it looked like there were just a bunch of Seiko SKX that were modded and somebody released this lineup as a joke. Not to say that they don't look good. I actually like a few of them. I think a few of them do look pretty good, and I'll tell you which ones at the end of this video. But for the most part, they just look like several variations on the Seiko SKX model. Something that Seiko enthusiasts and watch collectors have been doing for a long time, modding their Seiko SKX watches. This concept is really nothing new, so I guess what Seiko did, they embraced that modding community and released a whole bunch of their official Seiko models that look like modded Seiko SKX watches. The 2 big changes that I noticed in this lineup of watches: number 1, the Seiko 5 logo. The 5 is no longer a shield. It looks like this kind of Superman S. So it's a brand new logo for this new lineup of watches. And number 2, a big change actually is the new movement. Well, not a new movement, it's an old movement, but a new movement to the Seiko 5 series of watches. So this new lineup, starting in September 2019, that's when these watches will be released, will have a Seiko 4R36 movement. We are very familiar with this movement because it's essentially a Seiko NH36 movement. The only differences between the 2 movements is pretty much the name. Everything else is identical. And the reaction from the community is mixed at best. Some people are really negative on these watches and some people are very positive. Well, why are people negative? Didn't they want a better movement? I think the biggest negative that people find with these watches, we don't know the exact prices for each model, but we know the suggested retail price will be from $295 to about $350 US. Now that's a suggested retail price. Of course, picking them up from eBay or maybe Amazon in a year or so, you will find them for a lot cheaper than that. But just the initial release is around $300. So a lot of people are upset about that because Seiko 5 is supposed to be this kind of introduction to automatic Seiko watches, but here they are priced at $300, which is not a small amount of money considering that they will still have Hardlex crystals. So no sapphire on these watches, and that's one of the big reasons why people are upset about this release. They're just simply too expensive, but I guess that's the Seiko tax. Another rumor floating around the internet, and this is not a new rumor, but in light of this new announcement, this rumor kind of came back to surface again. The fact that Seiko will discontinue their Seiko SKX line of watches starting in September when this line drops. There is nothing confirmed from Seiko yet, but a lot of people feel very strongly that that will be the case, and maybe they will. I actually don't know, because a lot of these watches do look like Seiko mods. So maybe it makes sense for them to drop the Seiko SKX line, but maybe it doesn't, because in my opinion that's one of their most popular lines of watches, and there is a pretty big difference between these new Seiko 5 watches and the Seiko SKX, and that's the water resistance. So the Seiko SKX does have 200 meters of water resistance, but it is a professional diver watch with ISO certification, where these Seiko 5s don't have ISO certification, and they only of course have 100 meters, which is more than enough for most people, to be fair. So that's it. That's the new Seiko 5 lineup announcement. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this new lineup? Are they just Seiko SKX mods? I mean, they look very similar. The cases are pretty much identical. One thing I don't like about the new Seiko 5 lineup of models, no Jubilee bracelets. If you know me, you know I love my Jubilee bracelets. Unfortunately, no Jubilees here. We have some NATO straps, we have some stainless steel bracelets, we have some mesh straps, some canvas straps looks like, but no Jubilee. Very upsetting. Out of the bunch, my favorites are SRPD 65, this kind of a stealth looking sports model, and I also like the one from a Sense style, so the reference for that one is SRPD 77, this green dial, green bezel with a NATO strap model. I really like the texture on the dial and the orange seconds hand. I think that looks very interesting. This might be the watch I pick up for the review. I appreciate you watching this video until the end. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the new announcement and which references out of the ones announced are your favorites. Of course, give this video a thumbs up, that helps a lot, and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. By the way, today I'm a wrist, since we are talking about Seikos, I'm wearing a Seiko Flightmaster. Really like this watch, had it for about 2.5 years or so. It is quartz movement, but I really enjoy wearing this watch. I did a full review of it. That video can be found on the channel. I will also link it in the description below. Also in the description below, there is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Stick is bigger than you.